Hi everyone, welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today I have got some fantastic 3D embossing folders from our friends at Lisa Horton Crafts. This is a new product for us here at Paper Wishes, and not only is this a 3D embossing folder, it also comes with a cutting die. Makes cards like this. See how it's beautiful and cut out? I can't wait to show you what else we came up with, so come back and play with us. We're going to start off with this beautiful Tide bouquet embossing folder and cutting die. It is an amazing 3D embossing folder. So this is what it looks like if you're just using it with the embossing folder. A really beautiful, highly detailed image with lots of dimension, lots of texture going on there. All right, and then this is what it looks like if you've used it with a cutting die. Isn't that gorgeous? And the cutting die, you guys, is spot on. It is really, really accurate, and I love that. So this is how this works. The first thing you do is you take your cutting die, just from white cardstock or whatever material you're working with, and you're going to cut the image. And then you're going to take this image, and you're going to place this. Sure, I got it going on right here. There's a direction to this for sure. There we go. All right, so you're going to place that right there. See, so I'm aligning this part of the bow, and then this part of the bow, which threw me off, is included in part of the bouquet. So you're going to put that right there, and you're just going to align it right with that embossed image. All right, and then my tip is to take a little bit of just clear water and mist that. Oops, off camera. Like, let's try that. Mist that. Really only need to do it once. And then you're going to shut the folder. It aligns so well, okay? And because this is 3D, when you put it through your embossing machine, your die cutting / embossing machine, you really, when you're working with either the Sizzix or the Gemini, those were the two that we have that we work with here in our studio, you only need to add one plate. So it'd be platform, embossing folder, one plate to go through, and it works beautifully. Beautifully, you guys. Make sure you put the folder end through first, folded end of the folder. Okay, when it comes out, it's going to be this beautiful embossed image. So gorgeous. All right, so that's how they work. Let me get right into the card that I showed you here in the opening. So this is a 5 by 6.5 inch card. I covered that with an oldie but goodie. This is a lacy coral paper pack from hot off the press. It is gorgeous, you guys. It's got these corals, salmons, ivory, brown colors in it, and doilies and lace, and oh, so gorgeous. So I would recommend you check out the product page on that one. I'm listing all of these items down below our video if you're watching us on our Paper Wishes webisode page, so you can just click on any of them and it'll take you to the product page. Hey, if you're watching us on YouTube, look below the video for just in the description box, and you'll see a link to this. All right, so that's what I started with. So I covered my card first with brown cardstock, and then this beautiful coral sort of tile paper, and then this beautiful dark chocolate brown wood with this gorgeous lacy stuff at the top. It's so gorgeous, you guys. I inked all the edges brown, and then instead of using paper, I did something a little different. I used some cream suede paper. If you're not familiar with suede paper, it is like a fabric texture on one side and paper on the other side, and it die cuts beautifully. It embosses beautifully. And how you emboss it is you would cut the image just like paper. You would put it in the folder. You would mist it slightly. And when I say mist it, I mean just a little bit of moisture. You don't want it even damp. You don't want it wet, okay? And then let it dry for about 5 minutes after you take it out of the folder. But this is what it looks like out of the suede. Maybe we can zoom way in on this. It's just gorgeous, and it feels so nice. You just want to touch it. But because the suede is made from man-made materials, it's not like a cotton fabric or anything, it's plastic, then you want to make sure to use an ink that is a permanent ink, okay? So I used Timber Brown Stays On, all right? So an ink that is not water-based. So this is a solvent or alcohol-based ink. And I just took the surface of the ink pad and I went right over the top of that. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper here. All right, so we're just going to take the surface of the ink pad and go right over the surface. And it just, whoops, got caught there a little bit. It takes the color so beautifully because it's got that wonderful brush texture. Now, if you're finding some areas that aren't connecting, like this little leaf, you can just go back over that and darken it up. It's super forgiving. I know it's kind of intimidating the first time you ever do this. The first time I ever did this on an embossed image, I was like, ooh, but it works great. You just, the longer you do it, the darker it gets. All right, so it's just a super fun and easy technique to do. Then I use, these are peach crystals, and I just added a couple of those to the center. And then I put some sort of around the image just for some sparkle, just because. And then right here, I added some, these are the We're Together pastel and pearl dazzle stickers. It's a whole collection. And this one right here is just, it's a little bit, it's like a peachy color. It's sort of between a peachy color and an ivory. So it just fit really nicely, and I forgot to bring those with me today. So just look down below and you'll see them. So I added a little get well there. It seemed very appropriate with the winter illnesses that are going around. And then we've got a little bit of pearl border here. And you guys, this is so nice. I got to get my little sticky note off of that. This is Diamond Sparkles, self-adhesive little pearl roll. This is called Tropical Twist. But they're very kind of peachy looking to me. And they come in a roll like this. They're self-adhesive. Just peel that whole thing right off. The other thing is if you leave them right on the roll, you can take a little pair of scissors. I would recommend using the non-stick like titanium ones like this. We also have some large shears. And then you're just cutting between there. And you can separate them. And then they're still on that backing for like little thin borders that you want to do. So these are great to have. They come in all kinds of colors, you guys. Definitely check out those colors. All right, so put that right across there and made a very nice border. And then we just did a little bit of knotted brown stitched ribbon, which can be found in the brown ribbon collection. I also wanted to show you how great this looks here. This one, I did this out of a tan suede, and I did not use the cutting die, okay? So yeah, that's a little hard to see, but I'm going to show you something. Let's take this again. All right. And here I'm just going over the entire thing. We're getting some on the background of the suede, and that's okay. We want that to kind of look kind of distressed. But look how that image just pops, okay? I love that. And then what I like to do is just go around the edges like that. And that way it's sort of just like intentionally distressed, intentionally has darkened areas, which I think is really cool. It just kind of adds to the dimension of it. Super simple. And if you're missing some areas, remember, just take one of the little corners here. Just gently is the key word, right over those areas, and they're just going to really just pop. So for this collection, for Lacy Coral, I pulled some of the suede colors. So I found that the sienna works gorgeous with this, the cream and the tan. So I'm going to link all of those down below. And you guys, you can get from this particular embossing folder, if you cut it down a little bit, because of course you don't need this whole area. You don't need to cut your suede to the size of the embossing folder, really just to the size of the image. You can get 4 embossed images if you cut this into quarters. All right, so that's that card. Now I wanted to show you just how easy it is to use this just white. okay? It's just white image on white cardstock, which is still a very elegant and simple image to do. So I used a center step card. We have these in two different methods of purchase. We have them in packages of 5 with the envelopes. We also have them in a cutting die. And both of those are listed down below. And I used Windflower 6x6 pattern cardstock just to cover right here on the center, a strip right around down the right here, and then another couple of strips of paper. So I used, I think, 2 sheets of paper out of this to create the background on this card. And then I've got, for this sweet little white lacy border here, this is the white stickers from, this is the 96 Fancy Border Dazzle stickers. This was the first collection we had in the Fancy Border Dazzles, and it, you know, it's gold, silver, white, black, and now we make these in all kinds of color collections. So this was the original one, which is so great. And then I added some of these little pearl, these are purple passion diamond sparkles, and they're self-adhesive pearls. And I just added those to the flower centers. There's 2 flowers here that look like they just need a center. So I added some right there, and then a few different shades here. And then I took my little pen, my little tri-blend marker, and I just outlined the bow and then added one of the little greetings and foam taped that right there. Very fast, simple card to make. All right, so let's do this one next. This is one that my friend Debbie made. Oh gosh, I forgot to bring the paper pack. She used, I don't remember the background paper that she used for this one. It'll come to me in a minute. But this is a 6.5 by 5 inch card. And for this one, she used the Camellia Cluster. This is the embossing folder right here and the cutting die. All right. And this is what it looks like. Okay, isn't that gorgeous? And this is what it looks like if you don't use the cutting die, which is so beautiful. And on this one, Debbie used this cutting die, but she cut this from watercolor cardstock. All right, so she die cut this from watercolor cardstock. I've got some right here. Comes in a pack of 8 sheets. All right, and then once she die cut that, put it through her folder right here. Now, if you're using a paper that's directional, like the suede that I used, should have mentioned this. Here's another little tip. If you're using it where it has a pattern on one side like the suede, put it face down so that the pattern fits on the side that is debossed or pressed down or the lower image, you know what I mean? As opposed to the embossed image, which is raised, okay? So you want it to press into that. If you don't do that, then you're gonna get an impression that's reversed on your pattern paper. So that's a little tip to remember. Okay, want to say that while I thought of it. So this one, watercolor cardstock, doesn't really matter which side we go on. And what you're gonna do is find which direction we're going in. So you kind of have to like line this up. There we go. And how I did this was, you know, sometimes with all these leaves, you're turning it. Where are we putting it? Look for these little flower embellishment right there. Put it like that. Okay, you're gonna mist that lightly with water, close it up, put it through your machine. And then you're going to get this gorgeous impression that is so beautiful. And what Debbie did was she took some water-based ink pads. These are Harmony by Spectrum Noir, and they are water reactive or water-based ink, so they're dye ink. And she used this pine tree, the honey pot, and the fuchsia. And we're going to just take a look here at what she did. She colored in. Now, when coloring on embossed projects, yes, when using like water colors and things like that, yes, you can use watercolors. Using watercolor cardstock is best because it's thicker and it's meant to take that water. It's also going to hold the impression better when it has water on it. If you did this technique not using watercolor cardstock, I'm afraid you would lose your impression or your embossed impression. It would kind of lay a little flatter. So that's something to remember. So we've also got our little water brush, which is so handy. And I'm just going to take some of this fuchsia. Right, and we're just going to take this and put this on these petals. And what's great about this is you by no means need to be an artist to do this. All right, so I'm just going to cover the entire petal. Go for this one too. Go, and then once we've got 2 of those petals down, I'm going to put more ink on that. And then I'm going to go more towards the center of the flower to be darker. And the thought being that at the center of the flower, the petals are darker because there's more shadow at the center. And the very tips of those petals are getting more sunlight, they're getting more light, so they're not as dark. Right? That's my entire knowledge of watercolor painting. And you know what? I do just fine, and you'll do just fine too. So after you do all of the pink parts, then she went back here and to clean this, I just take a little wet paper towel or a wipe and I just wipe that off. We've got the honey pot color, same thing. You're just getting color on the surface of that petal. And then go back and just get more darker color towards the center. Okay, and then same thing with the leaves. Right, and then what Debbie did is once her image was dry, okay, you can see here there's a lot of sparkle on this. She took a clear sparkle glitter pen. She just painted right over that, and it's just it's not a very wet pen. So in using the water brush too, you're not using a ton of water on these images, so there's no kind of deflating of that embossed image. Just a really pretty technique. And then for her little dazzle greeting here, these are more greeting dazzle stickers, and they're really lacy and scripty. They're really pretty. And I think she used the black one right here for the thinking of you. All right, I have one more card to show you. And this is one that Debbie did as well using the same camellia, which is so beautiful. And what she did was she did not use the cutting die. Okay, so we've got this image embossed on here. And initially it's kind of hard to see because she embossed it from a patterned cardstock. The patterned cardstock she used is Romantic Florals. And I can tell you she used it from this one right here. These corners on the paper make perfect elements for this. And she also covered her card, which is 5 by 6.5 inches, with the dark green that's on there. All right, so let me show you how she did this. This is what it looks like, remember, on the white. And this is what this one looks like when you cut it out. I want to remind you there. So this one, she used that same ink pad. This is the water reactive ink pad, but we're not using it for water reactive. We're just going to be using it for the beautiful color. Just going to take the surface and go over it like this, and you'd just be amazed at how well it's going to show up. Beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? It just pops right up. Now, if you find that you want a little bit of a softer look or you want to color in more area, we've got our little applicator here also by Spectrum Noir, and you can just go over that image. See how we're kind of filling that in? Because the ink pad is really getting the surface, those raised areas, and the tool is kind of filling in a little bit. And we don't want it too dark. We really want to see that. But now do you see? There's that that highlighted dark area, and then the coloring, which stands out against this green. So you've got kind of 3 shades of green: the original, the very dark, and then that medium shade. And really, really simple, you guys. That's what we love. Simple and pretty. All right, so you guys, we have got a fantastic deal on these cutting dies. As I said, these are new for us. Would definitely recommend you checking them out. And to find all of my little goodies here. There we go. Definitely check these out. They're gorgeous. I think you'll have so much fun. And as you can tell, they're really versatile, which I appreciate in any kind of card making or scrap making tool, paper crafting in general. So we have a money saver. It's on the right-hand side of the screen. All the items are listed individually down below. If you're watching us on YouTube, then just check in the description box below the video. A thumbs up, always appreciated. It helps people find our channel. And subscribe. We do 4 to 5 videos a week, and I'd hate for you to miss a thing. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.